Hello, welcome to a new video. My name is John Skippy Limcool. Hands together, head bowed. Hey, this is kind of a little bonus video just to let you know about something cool that has happened. So the big news is the BBC Discover library from Spitfire Audio, full orchestra, right here, which has the violins, violas, cellos, basses, all the oboes, woodwinds, flutes, the brass, percussion, glockenspiel, celeste, things like that. That library is free. If you go to the Spitfire Audio website, this was originally a $50 version, and then you could upgrade to the bigger versions for the core version and for the pro version. And if you wrote them a letter saying you couldn't afford it, then 2 weeks later, they would give you a license for it. Well, it's now totally free. You don't even have to write a letter saying that you can't afford it. You just get it for free. So this is a complete orchestra. Now, for some reason, I cannot load the Discover library because I have the core library installed. And even when I set it just initialize just the plugin by itself and I go to Discover, it won't play them. So I can't show you that particular version of the library. The big difference is that the core version, which is on sale because Spitfire Audio is having their summer sale right now, gives you round robins and more samples, so it's even more authentic. Also, as you can see, if we go over here to the Discover Station library, if you go to strings, you've got long, pizzicato, spiccato. That's about it, and tremolo, I believe. If you go to the core station version for strings, there's all these different long, there's all the different Bartoks, so many more variations on the strings. It's just wonderful. Now, what makes this really cool with Unify is that when you call up initialized, and you go over here, if you were to call up from Spitfire Audio, down here in my 800 plugins that Unify is accessing right now, if I go over here to the BBC Symphony Orchestra, it will let me play the violins or the violas or the cellos or the basses one at a time, right? So I can play the violins. Sounds nice, but it stops on G. And then you have to go over here and go, oh, well, I need the violas. And if you're working on a film score and you know how to do the parts and you have it all organized in your head, oh, there's really lovely legato in the core versions. Just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. But with Unify is a host that can load any plugin that you own, whether it's a MIDI effect, audio effect, instruments, and you can layer up to 24 of them in a patch. So where that comes in really handy, when this library came out, a light bulb went on and I was like, I could load the violin, 1, 2, violas, cellos, and basses, and play them all at once. Easy, really easy. That's Unify does this in its sleep. Each of these layers is on its own thread of your processors. So it's separate cores for each layer so you can play. It's not going to choke out and poop out, you know. Then we take it much, 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 much farther because you got the strings, brass, winds of just the ensemble and the instruments by themselves. Here's like all the woodwinds and the piccolos. And if you go up here to the brass, you have brass ensembles. Here's the nice long open tone. Well, I come from making core workstations, and so I love to layer and did for making combinations for Kronos and Oasis and all that kind of stuff. Orchestra, where you layer everything together. So this is the full orchestra long. This is loading Unify into itself. And each one of these, if you double click, is 5 layers of the separate sections for this is the strings, here's the brass and the woodwinds. So There they are to play all at once. Then we have some things like some really cool sound designing. Using Unify has its own samples in its own core memory that we can layer with any plugin. So make beautiful sad things, happy things, sanctuaries, snowfall. So it's much, much more than just an auxiliary just to let you layer we got carried away. The Copeland, I played this at the beginning, the little sample where you had the brass. We did this for a combination, I think for the O1W, the T series, where you could play soft, you get the timpanis, because the Discover library comes with orchestral percussion. So they've got crashes and stuff. But when you hit hard, you get the orchestra crash. So you can I mean, your whole film score can be done like that. In fact, check this out. If you go, they have the scoring competition. And so you could go down here, play the video, the little, here, let me see. I was playing. We also have these really cool BPM things that we did that are just strings doing all sorts of things. Like here's the strings doing these. This is using a MIDI effect called MIDI box that we designed that's part of Unify. And we're playing just a simple MIDI file where I'm just going bump, bump, ba-da, with a single note. And then Unify, the MIDI player, can play it polyphonically, which is really unique. So also, I should point out, because these samples have a little bit of space, like a lot of space at the beginning of the samples, you can shift the timing back. Like, so it will play in time with your sequencer, because if you don't do that, you're going to have everything being just orchestral late, you know? So anyway, I have a BPM org here I can call up that will work really well with this Modern City Life. So you can play this.
My darling girl, you are getting what you always wanted. You are marrying for love.
One may say modesty is a virtue, yet this author is hardly a virtuous woman. It is therefore my great pleasure to announce the news others questioned, but I never doubted.
It will be the grandest wedding of the year. Tulips are enough to fill the great room and the finest silks. Only the best. For Miss Bridgerton and my nephew.
Anyway, you get the idea. You're halfway done scoring pieces with... You play the right notes, of course. But anyway, to celebrate this, we have Discover Station, as we call this library, at a special price for all of August. So if you want, you can get the free Discover plugin from Spitfire Audio. You need to own Unify. Unify is always on sale for $79. We do not discount it except for like Black Fridays and stuff like that. So if you want to wait till the end of November, it will be discounted. Maybe $15, something like that. I'm not a big discount fan when it comes to our plugins. And this offers so much because all your plugins become fun, inspiring. If you don't know about Unify, watching some videos on my channel here. Anyway, so we have it on sale and you can install this really quickly. For installing, you want to go down here to the plugin button and you go operations and scan for new or updated VST plugins. That's what you need to do because Unify needs to see the VST2 version of the BBC Orchestra plugin. So if you go to the Spitfire, actually do it this way. Once you've installed it, you can scroll down here to B's and see BBC Symphony. You want to see VST. That's it. Once you have that, then you can install the library, which it's very easy to do, and all 252 patches doing all sorts of wonderful things. Not only that, I should point out, even the Discover station has separate instruments. Core station, the list gets even crazier for all of the different instruments. They are all available, just the cello spiccatos. But they're all here, because one of the cool things with Unify is you can go here and say Unify Layer. And now I could just click. Let's say we want a Bartok violins, and I want staccatissimo bassoons, and I want a tuba, and I want that to be the marcato. I'm just clicking. It's adding these instruments to make my new custom menu, and I want bells. I want harp. So now it is loaded 5 layers to play. So now you have control over volume. You could add EQ to each channel. So if I go over here to EQ, Flex EQ, we've got 2 peak, and then you have a high shelf and a low shelf. So that way I can get the bassoon to stick out a little bit more. It's wonderful to play this way. And you have 314 instruments to just click, 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 and make your own custom ensembles of whatever you want. There's nothing more fun than just click, 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 and making your own ensembles. In fact, we have fuzzy dice, so I could actually, let's hold down Option and click Init. So it only keeps the first layer, removes all the other instruments, and then click the fuzzy dice. And this way, Unify is randomly choosing different instruments. We'll have it choose, let's say 10 different instruments, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 different instruments. We got percussion tenor drums and tubas and tubular bells and bass trombones and cellos. So and what's fun is you can solo and then lower the range of that sound so it doesn't play in a certain part of the range, because you have key range controls for every layer. And let's have the TAM only play when I play really hard velocity. So let's crank this up to like 120, something like that. So so you can make your own orchestra ensembles with the instrument sections. It's really, really fun. So get the BBC Discover library. I would strongly suggest upgrading to the core version. With the summer sale that they have going on, it's really fairly priced to give you a whole orchestra. And then inside of Unify, it just becomes just fun insanity with orchestral instruments. So enjoy. Hope you like this little short. I'm a little hyper excited because it's such a cool thing. Hope this helps. Okay. See you next video. Okay.